Hey everybody, it's me, Mystic Mars, the Oracle, and it's time for the Weekend Oracle. And it's also, aside from what's influencing us this weekend, I would also like to address tomorrow's Chiron retrograde. So many of you may not have heard of Chiron. It's not one of the most, well-known planets, but it's just a small planet that symbolizes the wounded and where your wounds are, the wounded healer sometimes. To give you a little bit of context with that, for instance, in my natal chart, I have Chiron conjunct North Node. So for me, that made a lot of sense when I found out what Chiron was and its influences, because you know what? I really do feel like I am the wounded healer. And I'm not saying that negatively. That's just how I perceive my path and the things I've experienced, the sickness and things like that. And it all led me to what I'm doing now, which is being a healer and being a guide, being an oracle. So I use it as an empowerment technique to think, wow, this planet has influenced so much of my life. And so no, it doesn't have to be like, oh my God, Chiron is touching my this or my that. No, it's a lesson. We learn how to heal the wounds and how not to just rip them open. Alex, hi Alex. So Alex knows a lot about astrology with her own group. So you've been pronouncing it wrong. Yeah, some people I say Chiron. It may be pronounced a different way, but that's how I've learned how to say it. So anyway, so I'll be pulling a card to see what kind of things we're healing, what we need to just kind of stitch up right now, because it's going retrograde tomorrow. So whenever a planet goes retrograde, it's kind of like, instead of, we're pulling in, we're learning the lessons, we're revisiting things and internalizing things. So it's in Pisces. It's going retrograde at 28 degrees Pisces. So the way I perceive that is you may have to dig deep into your mystical well to figure out how you're going to heal your wounds. You're going to have to look into oracles. You're going to have to look into the astrology. You're going to have to look into the numbers and the chakras, and go to guides and go to healers and get Reiki done, that sort of thing. But most of it to me is going to be self-healing techniques, not just going to someone else, but self-healing techniques, and really, really applying that. Hey guys, hello. So without further ado, I'm going to pull an animal medicine card to see what is going to guide us throughout this weekend and throughout this Chiron retrograde. And if you guys don't know what Chiron is, it's basically the, what touches our wounds and where our wounds are held. And that could be so many things. I could spend all day talking about it, and I'd have to look at each of your individual charts. But for right now, collectively, Chiron is retrograding in Pisces. So that's really touching us where we are, in Wonderland, the dreamy, the mystical, all of that, the preacher, that kind of a thing. So I'm really curious about what animal is helping us through this, what animal is helping us heal the wounds, be strong, go within, and self-heal. So let's go ahead and see. And we have, this is really cool. So, okay, I'll do my thing that I like to do, where I ask you guys, what do you think is on the other side of this card? Think about the energy. Think about what you're feeling, what you're sensing, the colors, if you'd like to, the emotions that come up, things like that. So just take a few seconds. And no, I don't have lion in my deck, actually. So take a few seconds, see what comes up. Even a number, you could see what numbers come up for you. What are you feeling? You know how this works by now. You kind of are probably sensing the numbers and sensing the animals if you've been following me for a while. So just see, snake would be great, because snake is all about transmuting the wound into something positive. It's something you could work with. So this is prickly porcupine. Really, really cool. When you think about wounds, you kind of think, yeah, prickly porcupine. And it's funny, one of my dogs actually got attacked by a porcupine a couple of years ago. It was really scary, but he lived, obviously. We had to pull out like 50 quills from his body, but yeah, that was something else. But so porcupine, though not to be feared, it's more about the innocence. It's more about, the poem that goes along with porcupine is, porcupine, remind me of innocence again, with every man a brother, every woman a friend. So think about that for a minute. Think about the innocence. Think about how you could approach things in a more playful way. That's what porcupine medicine is about. So, and I love this art too. I really love it. See that? It's not scary. It's more like childlike. See what you're picking up from there. Breathe it in. What does innocence mean to you? Think about the story. I'll read you a little bit about this. Think about the story of Porcupine with Bear. And Bear didn't want to play, and Porcupine wanted to play, saying, hey, come play with me. Play with this log. You know, come play. Let's see what worms are in this log, that kind of thing. Well, Bear's too grumpy. Bear's too serious. Finally, he realized that Porcupine has a lot to teach him. In innocence, in playfulness. What does that mean to you? What is playfulness in your life? How could you be more innocent, more playful, more childlike, more joyful in the seriousness of your life? We're trying something a little different today. I'm kind of giving you guys homework. I'm like, breathe it in. See how it's working for you or not working for you. How could you heal the wounds of the childhood? What childhood wounds are coming up for you right now as Chiron is retrograding? Anything? And you could feel free to put things in the comments if you wish to. You don't have to do that. But we're going to go ahead and pull an Avalon card now. So we have Porcupine, which is the innocence, which is playfulness, which is not taking life so seriously. So I want to see what Medicine Avalon has for us. Lost opportunities, Fernando says. Unmet desires. I love that you're sharing that. Thank you so much. It takes a lot of vulnerability to share what really, really, truly wounds us and where we're finding those wounds and how we're healing them. Okay. Okay. What sensation are you getting from this? What do you feel this is? What comes up for you? Try not to figure out what Avalon card it is. Just see what's coming up. We have another lesson to learn here. Forgiveness. We had forgiveness this week earlier in the oracle. So here we go. Breathe it in. You are still learning the lesson of forgiveness, and this is the key to helping you heal your wounds. Take a deep breath. And as you breathe out, release any expectations you have of yourself. And with your next deep breath, release any expectations that you've placed on other people. Allow any person to come to mind, any situation to come to mind. As you think about the word forgiveness, who comes to mind right away for you when you think of that word? Is it someone who you've held a grudge against? Is it someone who's wronged you in some way? Think about that. Well, Fernando asks, forgive oneself, but how? Well, Fernando, why do you feel that you've done something wrong? You have to get to the root of why you feel like you're guilting yourself or you're holding a grudge against yourself. Someone says my Facebook feed is breaking up. I hope I won't have to split this into two. So I'll go ahead and pull a numerology card because you know how I roll. Okay, and see, we still have forgiveness on top. Forgiveness on top. And guess what? We have a couple of 9s here. 49 here. 96 here. 9 is endings. 9 is closure. 9 is the end of the chapter. You're getting ready to do something new. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle, pick a numerology card to see what is with us, as along with porcupine. Innocence, reclaiming your innocence, being a child again, healing the wounds in your childhood, and forgiveness. Maybe you need to forgive your parents. I mean, a lot of us blame our parents for, oh my God, they screwed me up. Oh my God, they did this to me when I was 5, and now I'm a neurotic mess, that kind of thing. We all have that, and that's very real. But unless you can do this, you're going to get stuck there. These work very beautifully together. So let's go ahead and pull a number, see what we got. And this reading's a little bit more calm, a little bit more quiet as we ease into the weekend. Haha, we got these two recently. We have nature, beautiful, beautiful green color, and we have rebirth. So these tell me that we get hit over the head with this all the time. We need to go into nature and ground and touch trees and touch plants in order to surrender to our rebirth. I want you to try to find a plant that's barely blooming, perhaps, or look at a little bud of a flower and go, wow, there's so much rebirth, there's so much blooming and birth around me. How come I can't do that for myself? What's stopping me from doing that? I have buds. I can bud anytime I want. I could bud this idea. I could bud this part of my life. What's stopping us from going, oh no, I don't have any buds. I'm just the one plant. Like, oh, I don't have that. What's that like? Observe a plant. And in my 10-day challenge with my sister, we had you guys take care of a plant. And that was but no accident. It was about compassion. And that's what these are telling you. That this is for you guys who took the 10-day challenge. These two are yours. Specifically. It's for everybody, but I said that I would pull cards for you guys. This is it. Nature, rebirth. Apply that to your life. Apply it to any wounds that you have right now, because once again, Chiron is going retrograde in Pisces. And to some of you, that doesn't mean anything. So if you need more clarification, watch the beginning of the video, or feel free to message me and go, you know what, I just don't understand it. How can you explain it in a way that I can understand? So let's see, I'll go ahead and read the affirmations for these cards so that you could carry something with you forward into the weekend. Let me get here now. All right, rebirth. The affirmation for rebirth is, through personal transformation, I reach my greatest potential. Through personal transformation, I reach my greatest potential. This is about turning that wound into something that you could work with. Let it inspire you. Let it inspire you to be a healer if that's what you want to do. Let it inspire you to guide others. Let it inspire you to seek seek more deeply. And be sure, go ahead, Fernando's putting some wound insights in, and I'm really loving that. But be sure to do that if you wish to do that. I may not be able to read everything from everyone, but I like that you guys are being vulnerable and you're able to put that out there. It's very important to do. That's part of healing the wound. So nature is kind of self-explanatory. It's going to be like, yeah, go outside for once. So nature. I spend time in nature and align myself with source. I spend time in nature and align myself with source. So 74, the reason why this is that, 7 is a very spiritual number. You're aligning with source when you reach that number. It's the crown chakra. It's things like that. And the 4 is a very, very good grounding number. It helps you find stability. And the reason why rebirth is 6, well, 6 can signify the domestic energy, birth energy, children, and the 1 is you. The 1 is yourself. So try to see how that applies to you right now in your wounds. And oh wow, so Noreen has Chiron in Pisces natally. Is it on your? Is it your? Well, I know it's not your Chiron return. You're probably not 50, but it's at 28 degrees Pisces. So yeah, it's deep in there. And I show people. In fact, what I'm going to do, if any of you would like a reading to know where Chiron is in your chart, once again, Chiron is the wounded. The Chiron is digging deep and reaching into those deep wounds. The wounds that make you afraid to do things. The wounds that stick with you throughout your whole life. That's where Chiron touches. And so if anybody would like a reading about Chiron going retrograde in your own chart, not just collectively in Pisces, but where Chiron is going retrograde in your natal chart, be sure to message me about that. So I'll be open to I'll probably be able to take about 5 to 10 people. I put a lot of time and insight into my readings, so I can't do I don't just, do reading after reading after reading. I'm very careful with it. And I look at everything. I look at the numbers. I look at the planets. I look at literally everything. That's why I just kind of call myself a mystic, because I love to really look at every single nook and cranny of information. And it's really synchronistic. You have to bring it all together to get an overall view of where you're going, where you're at, and where you've been. And that's kind of what I do. So, all right, we have Porcupine. What wounds are revolving around innocence? Do you have any shame? Things like that. I feel like some of you maybe feel like, oh, you hear the word innocent and you're like, I ain't innocent, No, don't worry about that. Everybody has some innocence within them, and you could pull that out right now. And forgiveness. Who or what do you need to forgive? It starts with the self. Sometimes we even say, oh my God, I feel so bad because I can't forgive that person. Well then that means we have to forgive ourselves first in order to forgive, because then we get all guilty about not offering forgiveness. It could be a vicious cycle. So, rebirth. I always say surrender to your rebirth. Surrender to your rebirth. And nature will help you with that. These come together. Really, really, really cool. And I hope that, you find a lot of insight during this Chiron retrograde. It's going to be retrograde until December. So basically the rest of this year, we're going to be seeking out the mystical. We're going to be seeking out the spiritual. Some of us might even stand on our mystical soapboxes a little bit, like spreading the good word, like my group Mystonaries, we spread the good word. Because Pisces sometimes wants to share the deep knowledge and things like that. But it could be a very watery, dreamy scape. So there may be some confusion for you right now. In fact, right now with this reading, you may be going, geez, I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of cloudy with what my wounds could be. I'm not really sure about the roots of that. Well, that's what this energy is going to help you discover. That's why it's so great. And so lastly, what I'll do, since this is kind of like a Chiron special, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, thanks for sharing, you guys. I just saw that. Cool. Thank you. If you feel like anyone could benefit from this, feel free to share. And like I said, contact me if you're like, what the heck is Chiron and what's it doing to me? Feel free to message me about that. And I'm going to pull an angel card, because I feel like we need one more little tidbit of knowledge to see how we can really dig deep with these wounds and not just stitch them up, but guess what? Heal them. Not just stitch them up, but we're going to heal them. We're going to heal them. We may have a faint scar to remind us of where we've been, but we're going to heal it. It's no longer going to hurt, and we're no longer going to rip it open, most importantly. Okay. Once again! So it's funny, because retrograde, it's like we're revisiting things. So we have study and learning again. And what did I say? Since we're in Pisces, and since we have some sevens here and things like that, you may want to access those higher realms. Pisces is very much, my dad is Pisces. And so I'm used to that energy. And sometimes you don't know what they're talking about, because they're so just, everything's profound and everything's just like, it's almost like a disciple, things like that. And so it's kind of funny. Sometimes you're just like, oh gosh, they're really all in the deep end. No, literally the deep end. It's very watery, a very watery energy. And so that's where Chiron is. And so it's going to take some introspection, deep introspection, and learning to discover where our wounds are and what we're going to do about them already. We're sick of ripping them open. We're sick of pouring the salt in them and the lime and whatever else we're pouring into our wounds. We're ready to move forward, truly. We're sick of the story. We're sick of the revolving wheel of a story. We want to get off the ride. The way to get off the ride is to arm yourself with knowledge. Arm yourself with learning. And be the seeker. And this is, thank you, angels, for allowing me to see that every day is a learning day. So I think that for some of you, you may have been a little bit closed off to learning. Maybe you don't have time for it. Maybe mysticism isn't, like, flowing so well for you, this is a time to really hone in on that, especially mysticism, because of Pisces. Pisces, is ruled by Neptune, very mystic, very much dreamer, intuition, psychic, that sort of thing. And so that's kind of what that's about. And I hope you like this. I'm going to read through some of your things. I feel like staying with you guys for a little bit longer, for those who are here live with me, and to answer some questions and to hopefully guide. And if you're watching on YouTube, you could shut it if you want. Just wow. This is going to be about the people here who are watching live, and but everyone learns. As I'm helping or as I'm reading comments, everybody else here is supposed to hear that. So we're all healing together because we're all bringing similar things to the table. So I have like a million cards around me right now. And once again, for those who are interested in seeing where Chiron is in their chart and what it's doing and what it's trying to teach them, I could even tell you what house it's in if you know what time you were born. And that really, really sheds more light on it. So I will be offering those readings at a very, very small discount, very big discount rather, very small rate, I meant to say, of $22. Most of my readings, I don't even offer readings at that price. So if you're interested in seeing what Chiron's doing to you, what's going to be happening over the next 6 months for you, be sure to message me about that. And but not right now, because then it'll make all this noise on my phone and on my computer and all that stuff. So, okay, so Peter says, I'm Pisces and confused. I help clients, but I cannot help myself. Oh, yes, yes. So Chiron is a bit about that. The wounded healer helps others, but he cannot help himself. But guess what? In helping others, you are helping yourself. And you're going to find, Peter, that people will come to you that coincidentally have the same problems that you have. And you go, wow, as I'm teaching this person, as I'm guiding this person, I need to listen to myself. I need to take my own advice, because I have these same issues, and the universe will keep throwing those clients at you that have the same issues that you have, so that you could heal them and then in turn become a better healer. And that's what it is. And I hope that helps. That's what I've learned. That's definitely what I've learned, because they resonate. We resonate. We pull in people who are vibrating, or whatever you want to call it, at the same rate we are, the same level we are. And so we end up being very similar. So people are being called to you that have similar issues to you for a reason. And you'll see that. They may flood in, I feel like, for you. You're going to be like, all right, it's game time. As I'm helping these people, I'm going to be helping myself. So, okay, let's see. Being stopped by your fears and not taking action despite of it. Fears can stop you in your tracks. And it's okay to be afraid. It's okay. But kind of choose your battles with it. Are you going to be afraid of a spider? Is it really worth your energy? And I say that because I am afraid of spiders, but I'm working on it. I am actively working on it. But you need to figure out where you're putting your energy. And if you're sinking them all into fear, then how do you expect anything good to happen? If all your energy and all of your attention, all of your focus is sunk into every single fear in your life, you're tapped out. There's no energy for anything else. If you do that, not to scare you, just to be mindful of it. Yes, forgiveness is still the theme, Noreen, definitely. There's a certain level of forgiveness that can only be achieved when you act differently. Otherwise, it's just words. True. You have to walk the talk, I like to say. Walk the talk. You may talk a big game, but if you're not walking it, you're going to lose the game, basically. And so we need to put our money where our mouth is. And if we say, I'm going to heal this wound, we're going to heal the wound. But what do I always say? Action, 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 action. Whether the first action is writing in a journal or telling somebody your problem, that helps a lot. And just voicing it helps a lot. And you'll go, why was I scared to open up about that? That's crazy. This person didn't judge me, and I feel so much better. That's kind of how it works out. Let's see. So, if you have any questions, I'll be on for another minute or so to kind of just offer you insight and see if I could help out a little bit. Evgenia says, yes, they mirror back your stuff. Yes, a lot of people we encounter, especially the ones that annoy us or make us uncomfortable, they're mirroring us. And that's why we get uncomfortable, because a lot of us don't like our reflections. So Fernando says, in the case of fears, you can let yourself act with something that fear. I'm not sure what word he's saying there. Not necessarily want to act until through some mental work, you're out of that fear. Acting with the fear is actually accepting yourself, because it can be about not wanting others to see your fear. You can be ashamed of your fear. Yes, a lot of it is, it all comes back to vulnerability. And, you know, I should talk, so going back to astrology, I'm a Scorpio rising, so that kind of has made me, like, if I want to have a poker face, I'll have a poker face, and nobody will know what I'm thinking. I've had people tell me, I didn't even know if you wanted to be my friend, you know, or if you liked me, because I could have a poker face. But my Gemini side's like, hey guys, you know, so it's a cool balance. But I used to, you know, would be terrified to have someone see me cry, or, you know, or even be too joyful, or, you know, I thought, well, you know, if I'm just have a poker face, they can't really judge me that much, because they're not seeing anything. They're not seeing me. They're just kind of seeing a mask. But guess what? That's boring. And then you'll be boring. Nobody will truly connect with you. You know, I've had some experiences not really having deep connections with people, because it can be scary to have a deep connection with friends sometimes, you know? It could be a little bit more comfortable to keep yourself locked up a little bit, and not want people to really delve into your life. But if we don't share with others, we're just shrinking the world. We're shrinking our worlds, and life is just more interesting when you could share it with other people. Your experiences, your joys, your lows, your emotions, your sadness, your happiness. We like to see it. I love to see that in all of you guys. You guys are multifaceted. You guys are an inspiration. And I love that I can encounter people who will open up to me, and who won't be afraid to say, here's my problem, and I need help. You know, how brave is that? For someone to say, here's my problem, can you help me? A lot of us won't do that. We'd rather cut our arm off than ask someone to help us with a problem, you know? And of course, some people are the opposite. They take advantage of the help. But you know what? A lot of us don't. A lot of us find difficulty accepting help, and we see that time and again, week in week, into these oracle readings. We get things like horse medicine and things like that are like, ask for help, dummy. Like, you can't do it all on your own, and people want to help you, and you have resources. You're just not tapping into them. And so that's what that's about. And I hope you guys got some insight. Again, once again, Chiron is retrograding tomorrow in the sign of Pisces, and we're going to experience that until December. So there's a lot of healing going to be going on, especially if you have planets around 28 degrees Pisces, and also Virgo, and also Gemini and Sagittarius. Like, those are all the places where it's like ping, 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 you know. If something's happening at 28 degrees Pisces, then it's going to be touching those other areas. So once again, I'm offering a reading where you could see where transit Chiron is touching the wounds and influencing you, and asking you to dig a little more deeply, and also where your natal Chiron is, and how that is working with all of this Chiron retrograde energy. So I want to, in closing, you know that I love reading about the degrees and the little messages that go along with each degree. So I want to read the degree sign for where Chiron is. So as I read this, you don't have to know anything about astrology. Don't worry about the degree. I want you to think about how these words apply to some wounds that you may be holding. And some of these words, these are channeled messages. So some of them, they use really flowery language, or really, really deep language. And don't worry about that. Just see what comes up for you. Maybe some symbols. You could close your eyes if you want to. Just see what comes up for you as we explore 28 degrees Pisces. And once again, Pisces is a bit of a dreamy, watery, profound energy. So you could keep that in mind as well. So 28 degrees Pisces. The symbol for this is a horde of monkeys chattering. So like a group of monkeys chattering. Keep that image in mind as I'm reading this little paragraph here. So a horde of monkeys chattering, possession by local spirits in mischievous, playful fashion, cast into an abyss, dumped out of status and specialness, and made to be hyper-receptive to whatever is moving here. An abandoned center, karmically sacrificed to learn both humility and the lessons of the street. The state of mind, random, chaotic, inspirational, capricious, given to every kind of spirit passing through. Sorely troubled, yet fantastically out of touch. A regressive loop with powerful emanations. The feeling is that something must be done, and that this will require a change of heart. But you gotta go deep, and it takes a whole lot of desperation to turn this one around. The takeaway, I think, is that last sentence. You've got to go deep, and it takes a whole lot of desperation to turn this one around. Desperation doesn't have to be a bad thing. When you're desperate, you finally get down to that primal level. That's when you frickin' ground. You just floor it. And when we're desperate, we really tap into those primal resources. So a horde of monkeys chattering, to me, that's kind of when you have all those negative fears, the chitter chatter, the monkey brain. That's what I think of when I hear this. So that's like, what are these things telling you? What's going on that you can't hear your own inner voice because there's all these outside. And also, a horde of monkeys, I'm thinking of the group mentality. Determine who you're surrounding yourself with and what they're chittering into your ear. That's what I'm getting from this. It may be good, it may be bad. I'm feeling like just don't, it's good to be a part of a group and find your tribe. Make sure your own voice isn't lost as you integrate into that group. And then I'd like to read the next degree, because that's where we're moving towards. So what's interesting about this next degree, so 28 degrees Pisces, where Chiron is retrograding, a horde of monkeys chattering. Okay, so the next one is Balinese dancers wearing elaborate gold costumes. And this is really long, I won't read through this one. But to me, okay, what's the difference? What do you see the difference between a horde of monkeys chattering and dancers wearing elaborate gold costumes? That's what we're reaching towards, because since we're retrograding, 29 degrees Pisces is actually moving forward. So I'm giving you a glimpse of when we come out of this, what we're going to embrace. And so instead of the monkey chitters, we're going to be in a group mindset, because we're going to be a group of dancers. But beautiful expression. The monkey chatter, that's the primitive. The dancers, although it's choreographed, you have expression in that. It's not so wild, It's choreographed, but it's also very expressive and beautiful. And so that's what I get from that. And I would love to know what you guys think about that, and your insights on all of that, because I think that these really help guide us, and they really help us determine what we need to think about right now, what we need to look at in our lives. And yeah, Chiron retrograde starting tomorrow. We have a lot of forgiveness going on. A lot. In the numerology cards, we had forgiveness in the beginning of this week, as some of you guys saw. I'm just like, okay, we got to forgive. We have to forgive. And I like to say forgive without regret. Because if you're regretful, that's not true forgiveness. You have to just move past and forgive without regret. You don't have to forget, but you can forgive. And nature, simple as that. Take some time to go into nature this weekend to embrace and anticipate your lovely rebirth. I do see some solitary time this weekend, so make sure that you're able to just step back a little bit, especially if you want to learn and study right now. And don't forget to be childlike and be playful. You could study and learn, but switch it up a little bit. Have some fun. Play a video game in between books. Just have a little bit of fun and innocence and all of that. Yeah, wonderful. Thanks for sticking with us. This was not an oracle quickie, weekend quickie rather. This was a little bit longer because of all the stuff going on. Chiron retrograding in Pisces, it's a big deal. I'm really obsessed with Chiron. I really am, ever since I learned it, that it's so to explain in the beginning, I talked about how Chiron is conjunct my north node. So the north node is what you're aspiring towards. It's kind of like your future, kind of like your path. So for me, the wounded healer, that is my path. And I've known that. Even before I knew anything about astrology, I embraced that and I felt that. And that's helped me heal a lot of things, to embrace that. To know that that's my role. And maybe some of you have that same aspect. I would love to know if you are an astrologer or you dabble in astrology. I would love to know where Chiron is in your chart, and how you think that this Chiron retrograde is influencing you. And once again, I'm offering Chiron readings at $22, which is like cheap. But you know what? I want to help you guys figure out where those wounds are, because this is the opportunity to heal them instead of just stitch them up, And of course, this isn't the only time Chiron goes retrograde, but right now I feel like we're in a year 1, so it's very important that we take care of this now, because it's going to set the course for the rest of the 9 years cycle. So that's heavy. So, all right, So feel free to message me. I may not get back to you until tomorrow. Yeah, have a lovely weekend. And if I don't talk to you over message, I will see you on Monday for your weekly reading.